Long celebrated for their efforts, the men of the 1813 expedition were not the first to attempt a crossing of the Blue Mountains, nor even the first to accomplish the feat.
It certainly seems that the Aboriginal people did not find the mountains a barrier the way that the Europeans did. Not only were the Aboriginal people travelling through and using the mountains for a very long period of time, but also the different groups were using the mountains as a network that got them to meeting places with each other.
After the European settlement of Sydney in the late 1700s, the exploration of the greater New South Wales area began in earnest.
There were a number of early expeditions through the Blue Mountains. There's a very early explorer called Francis Borrelia who does some journeys under Governor King. What Borrelia is charged to do by the governor is in fact to try and meet with the Aboriginal people and even with that European mindset, settle the Aboriginal people.
Whilst some were busy with diplomacy, others were occupied with discovering their new homeland.
George Cayley is a very interesting figure in early Australian exploration. He's a botanist and he's a protege of Sir Joseph Banks. Cayley does a few expeditions around the northern Blue Mountains. He gets to a place that he names for his patron, Mount Banks. He was quite a difficult character. It was said of him that had he been a gentleman, he would have been shot in a duel, and that gives you a little bit of an idea of his character.
After the success of 1813, the mountains no longer seemed an impassable barrier, so the colony made plans to finally break through into the Western Plains.
The next big player in the story is a man called William Cox. Governor Macquarie is really looking for a reliable person to do something with the discoveries that Blaxland and his party have made. Macquarie's looking for the colony to really become a civilised, functioning society. So William Cox is charged with building the road into the interior. Cox's Road is a phenomenal piece of work, particularly for the era in which it's done. It goes for 163 kilometres. It starts at Penrith and it ends up in Bathurst.
And not like today, he actually did it in 6 months while they're still trying to upgrade the thing 10 years later on.
It's hard to believe today when you drive up the hill in 2 hours that there was ever a time when people could not find their way across.
So there is this thing about Sydney springboarding into Western New South Wales, and eventually there's the settlement of Bathurst proclaimed as the first really inland settlement of New South Wales, and from then on there is an expansion of the colony.
To learn more about the Bicentenary, visit the Blue Mountains Crossings website.